Okay, building up to Thursday night second leg against Bruno's Magpies at Oriel. Stevie, a couple of days now to reflect on the first leg in Gibraltar. What's your thoughts now, looking back at it?
Yeah, you know, obviously there's a little bit of the unknown when you're going into the game. So the way the game panned out, I thought from a possession point of view, we were obviously the dominant team from a control aspect. But as I said, post game similar sort of for the possession we had. We gave up too many sort of chances for our liking in regards to probably a few too many dangerous moments off minimal possession. So obviously that's we need to guard against that for the second leg. But all in all, I think a draw was probably a fair result.
Any surprises from them? I know you were limited to what you could sort of look at, but any surprises from them on the day?
No, nothing really. They played within their structure and carried a threat on the counter and turnovers, etc. So nothing really that we sort of hadn't planned for from a system or a shape point of view.
What do you expect them to do now coming here on Thursday night?
I don't think they'll deviate too much from that. They've played, the two games we have sort of footage of against us last week. And the pressing game, they played a 4-4-2 sort of mid to low block, so I don't think it'll change loads from the first leg to the second leg.
As said to a couple of people, it's amazing the away goals rule. Now that it's gone, it's changed the game nearly. It changed European matches completely. Well, a 0-0 draw away from home, there was a lot of danger in that, but now it's
obviously it's two scratch games, and I think you saw with the record last week. I think 4 out of 41 or something away teams won last week, so it is hard to go away from home in Europe, especially in the first round. I think because there's a lot of the unknown in regard to teams are playing against, and when you're going away from home, your first thought is to be sort of structurally sound and get a feel for the opposition and then take it from there.
The conditions was obviously a massive factor. Have you ever experienced that like that?
It's different, obviously. I was standing on the sideline, but it was even very hot standing on the sideline. From a playing point of view, I probably never would have played in conditions as hot as that. And as the players were saying, and we obviously noticed, there was no let up. It wasn't a period of time as it went on. It got a bit darker and a bit more in the shade. It stayed sort of sweltering for the full 2 hours as such. So thought our fitness levels were good, and we were probably going a bit stronger towards the end, the last 15-20 minutes, which is always a good sign.
What's the knock-on effect from the body?
Yeah, well, it was important. We need to recover well. It actually helped us flying out the next day. We got a recovery session in very early Friday morning before we set out, and then we had a day off. We flew back Friday, had a day off Saturday, and we were back in training Sunday and Monday, and then we'll have a day off tomorrow. So it's just about recovering. We did probably an extra recovery day on Sunday with the players that started that they wouldn't normally have. And then it's just about building it up again for the game second leg Thursday.
Talk about coming back from one extreme to the other weather-wise.
Yeah, I came back in the rain and greyness after leaving sunshine and heat. So a balance somewhere a little bit in between would be nice. For
a lot of lads, first time in Europe, first time away. Never mind the football point of view. As a group, that can be a good thing, I'm sure. Sort of cooped up in a hotel.
Yeah, definitely. And we mixed the rooms up as well. So players spending time with each other, sort of 24/7, and then in rooms, talking to each other, interacting, getting to know more about each other, etc. So that was good for the group, and the more trips you can have like that is good. Obviously, that means you're progressing further in Europe.
Yeah.
And also, as you said, I think it's huge and great for the bonding and the camaraderie amongst the group.
What did you make the Irish clubs in general? A lot of talk when the draws were made. There was a lot of talk 4 easy wins, but we're all going to go through. I think you made the point that no League of Ireland club was a divine right to be thinking that, and I think the results show that there's no. It's a cliche, but there is genuinely no easy games.
Yeah, well, as I said, I told you the record from the all the games. So obviously 3 of the Irish clubs, their first leg was away from home, and we managed to watch the Shamrock Rovers against the Icelandic team. They were a very good team. I thought that was a good quality game. So that second leg will be close tomorrow, and hopefully all the Irish clubs can progress into the second round, because that's what we want. But as I said, there's especially the first round is the element of the unknown, and there is no gimmies. The results show that. I think every tie in Europe nearly still alive, maybe bar 2 or 3.
I think every club in Europe is we're not the only sort of country in Europe that thinks there's a lot of riches and there's a lot of money at stake in Europe. Every other country, smaller country in Europe's now thinking
exactly. It's the main source of revenue and income, and everyone's treating the games as their biggest games of the season from a financial point of view. So always going to be tough games. It didn't really matter who we drew, and Thursday will be no different.
Looking at the game here, it's, believe it or not, it's our first European game in front of a full crowded Oriel since Karabakh in 2019. Everything since that has been either COVID, we didn't play here, or it was only a couple of hundred. It's mad. You think?
Yeah, exactly. So 4 years, so long time. So we need to sort of play on that, and supporters obviously been starved of domestic home Oriel Park European football. So it should be really good atmosphere come Thursday, and it's a game we're really looking forward to.
Would you have taken? Obviously, would have liked to have won last Thursday, but would you have, somebody said to you, if to win a game at Oriel to go through the next round? I'm sure plenty.
Yeah, you would, but I don't like it. I very much take the game on its merits, so I tell you sort of post game if it was a good point or not. On control of the game, I would say, we should have went on. Any team that had 67% possession, you'd expect to go maybe and have a really good chance of winning the game. But then on chances, we probably would have sort of taken the point, or taken the draw, shall I say. So again, all to play for on Thursday, and but we, the tie has to be won, by one of the teams. So we're looking forward to Thursday, and as you said, conditions etc. would be a bit more suitable for us. So it's a game we're looking forward to.
Yeah, just to ask you a couple of sort of housekeeping bits. Owen Kenny's obviously gone on loan to Wexford, scored his first senior goal on Friday night. I'm sure that was the point of sending Owen down there to get experience and hopefully score goals.
Yeah, brilliant. Obviously his first senior goal, which is a huge moment for him in his career, one he'll always remember. And he's off and running now. He's had 2 appearances sort of off the bench, 1 goal, which is very good record, and now he can build on that. And as you said, the big thing is going and getting first team experience every Friday night, getting yourself up to a point mentally and physically to be at your best. It's all about experience and learning as you go, so he'll get a huge amount of learning in that loan spell.
Darren Brownlee was obviously met up with us in Gibraltar. I was talking to him earlier, it was some trip he had getting to Gibraltar, you'll never forget it. But a couple of good training sessions. I think he trained the last couple of days here as well. Are you happy with the progress he's making?
Yeah, well, obviously Darren finished his domestic season, so he would be going back into a pre-season when he finished the season, if probably what he foreseen that he was going to stay in Scotland or Britain. So now he's come into a team after 4 or 5 weeks off that are still in the season and playing competitive football. So it's just about, he had a few niggles, so it's just about getting them up to speed and get good condition work into him. But delighted to have him over, and as you said, he had a long sort of round the world trip to get to Gibraltar last week, and then he just had to nip home over the weekend to get back. So we have him on Irish soil now for good, so we'll get good work into him now.
There's a couple of the injured lads. Wardy obviously was in Gibraltar last week. He's got a knee injury. What is the
medial ligament? So it's a real blow. He was carrying a groin injury, and that's why I didn't want to bring him on really at all against Bows, but I threw him on for 5 minutes. Obviously we needed a goal, and then he goes and gets a separate injury, just a contact one with James Talbot. So he'll be out for the guts of the next 2 months anyway, which is obviously a big blow to us, but no more so than him at this stage of the season, being over there watching us play in Europe. But he'll still have a huge influence on the team, just his personality and the way he is around the group and his experience. So he'll lend that to all the players that are still playing. And Cammy Elliott's making really good progress. We'll see how he's like this week over the next couple of days for maybe even Thursday. Robbie Benson's making really good progress, so his timeline's getting shorter and shorter. Hopefully he'll be within the next maybe 2 week block as well. And then John Mountain, he's actually doing really well. He's a good bit ahead of schedule. Obviously he'll be a little bit later, but from a timeline point of view, he's definitely ahead of schedule on his progress.
It's very unfortunate with his already 2 months. Robbie was a bad one. John's obviously bad, and the big sort of the time frame's big and on a lot of the injuries we
Yeah,
got
well,
this year.
that's been sort of the way it's been over the last year. I think we probably started getting it last June, and it's been non-stop sort of with big injuries and big chunks of really sort of experienced and vital players for us. So we've had to deal with that. The players have done really well, so hopefully we'll get them all back before the end of the season.
Finally, it's a huge week, isn't it? Thursday, and then obviously it's amazing. There's an FA Cup tie with Rovers on Sunday that nobody's even sort of mentioning. It just shows you how big Europe is. And
yeah, exactly.
how
So
exciting it is.
obviously we'll deal with Thursday first, and then we'll see what we're like come Sunday. But massive game. So 2 huge games in the space in the next 6 days.
It'd be nice to be on a plane or a boat next Tuesday as well, wouldn't it? Heading to Wales or Iceland.
Yeah, it'd be great. That's what you want. You want to be churning out games in Europe, travelling, feeling like a proper footballer. So we'll approach Thursday right, and hopefully we get that little sort of bit of luck and play to our ability and give ourselves a great chance.
Brilliant.
Thank you.